Good morning, everyone. Day 9 of the US Open is upon us. Before I touch on it, let's reflect quickly on day 8. It was another day that I had high expectations of, but in terms of close matches and titanic tussles, I don't think we got to see that many. By far, the best match of the day was between Pliskova and Venus Williams. It was an absolutely amazing match. So many momentum swings, great play. Especially the best part of it was that in the third and deciding set, you felt that both players actually stepped up a level, hit some outrageous winners. Both players saved match points, and just like the match before, the day before between Nadal and Pouille, you felt bad for the loser of the match because you almost felt no one deserved to lose. But nonetheless, a great victory for Pliskova. She served absolutely amazingly, hit some great shots. Venus also played really well, and it was just a few fine margins that led to the veterans' exit at the hands of Pliskova, the dark horse this year's US Open. There were a few other good matches. If they were not necessarily close, at least we got to see some excellence in quality. I thought Simona Halep played her best match of the tournament so far against a tricky opponent in Carla Suarez Navarro, winning 6-4, 7-5. And then the young Croatian teenager caused a big upset, beating Agi Radwanska 6-4, 6-4. Folks, this girl for an 18-year-old serves phenomenally well. And I think now we are starting to see maybe the seeds of a generation that will be inspired a little bit by Serena in terms of having a big serve in the women's game, because we've seen that with Pliskova already, although Pliskova obviously has a bit more experience. But Anna Konya is only 18 and she was serving like a veteran. Aces, excellent first serve percentage. She just dominated Radwanska, even though Radwanska actually didn't really play badly. On the men's side, Kei Nishikori was fantastic in his win over Ivo Karlovic. Remarkably, in the first two sets, Nishikori had zero unforced errors. Across two sets, zero unforced errors. That's just a staggering level of excellence shown by the Japanese six seed. Juan Martín del Potro versus Dominic Thiem. I expected that to be a great match. Unfortunately, Dominic Thiem retired halfway through the second set, and Juan Martín won. So Juan Martín's made it all the way to the quarterfinals. Stan Wawrinka versus Ilya Marchenko. A decent match. I felt really Stan should have won it in straight sets, but he made life difficult for himself unnecessarily. But nonetheless, he prevailed in four. And Serena Williams against Shvedova. Of course, Serena was excellent, with the caveat being that it was just obvious that just Shvedova just wasn't in the same league despite her best efforts. So that was day 8, maybe slightly underwhelming. I'm hoping day 9 proves much more exciting. Of course, today is the beginning of the quarterfinals, and now onwards, the only tennis that we'll see at the US Open will be on Arthur Ashe Stadium. And I'm really excited about this because these last few years at the US Open, we've had rain wreaking havoc with the schedule. And this is the year now with the roof built and all the remaining tennis is going to be on Arthur Ashe. There are going to be no delays, folks. I mean, if it rains in the middle of the match and they have to close the roof, that's only 7 minutes. But now we know that if a women's quarterfinal is scheduled at this time, a men's semifinal is scheduled at a set time, we know that that's the time those matches will start, notwithstanding if the match before is longer, of course, but that's acceptable. Any tennis fan would respect and appreciate that. So all set for the quarterfinals. The first quarterfinal I'm going to talk about, actually, you know what? Let me take a swig of my morning coffee, man. I just love it so much. Delicious. All right, so the first quarterfinal on schedule on day 9 is between Angelique Kerber and Roberta Vinci. This is quite an interesting match. Now, their head-to-head is 2-2, but they haven't really played against each other since both of them started their ascent in their careers, which is pretty much last year and this year. So there are lots of variables. I won't read too much into their past records. It's interesting. Now, Kerber is a perfect counterpuncher. She can hit good ground strokes to end points early too, but I think her success mode is hitting shots on the run, whether it be backhand or forehand. She's a good counterpuncher. Roberta Vinci, though, is not necessarily an overly aggressive player in terms of her ground strokes. She has an aggressive mindset because she comes to the net, she'll slice, she likes to finish points early, and she likes to play those angles. So, on the one hand, she could be a sitting target for Kerber, and if that's the case, I see Kerber winning quite convincingly. But on the other hand, because she's taking pace of the ball, Kerber is going to have to rely on her own pace to force the issue. So it's going to be very interesting. I think this is one of those tactical matches that you can't really call with too much confidence. It could be, and it really should be, a Kerber win. Of course, Kerber's had a stellar year, and she is all round definitely the better player. But as Vinci proved last year when she beat Serena in the semifinals, she loves playing at Flushing Meadows and on the Arthur Ashe court. So I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. I'm going to give Kerber the slight edge, but I don't say that with any authority whatsoever. Now, the second quarterfinal is one that I honestly didn't expect to be predicting, and this is between the young Frenchman Luca Pouille and the French veteran Gael Monfils. Monfils has been playing some amazing tennis. He's not dropped a set so far at the US Open. And what I've noticed watching Monfils at this year's tournament is that he's become very comfortable coming to the net, finishing points early with his volleys. His volleying technique has actually improved a lot. Luca Pouille, I mean, what's left to be said about this guy? He made the quarterfinals at Wimbledon. I, amongst many others, thought maybe that was a flash in the pan, a quirk of circumstances. But he's followed it up by reaching the quarters at the US Open, winning three five-setters, including one against Rafa Nadal when he seemed down and out. Now, obviously, that should take a toll, but apparently he's saying he's got a team, his physical trainer is one that prepares him really well, and he's confident that he'll be ready to go against Monfils. I mean, how can you rule out a guy who beat Nadal? But at the same time, I think Monfils is playing much better tennis, and that freshness has to play a part. So I'm going to go with a safe bet over here, and I say Monfils wins in four. I think Luca will come out fired up, but he'll not be able to maintain that momentum. I think Monfils' great experience and quality and freshness will come through in this match. Then we move to the evening session. The first quarterfinal in the evening session is another one that I didn't expect to call: Caroline Wozniacki versus Anastasia Sevastova. First, I'll talk about Sevastova. She beat Garbini and Muguruza in the second round, causing a major upset. And then in the round of 16, when I thought Johanna Konta was a favorite against her, she beat Johanna Konta as well. She's playing some really solid tennis. I personally don't think she's the most spectacular player there. She doesn't have the most attacking weapons, but she plays with intelligence and she plays well within her limits. She doesn't try too hard. She doesn't hit a lot of unforced errors. And I think sometimes on a good day, that's good enough to win matches. Whether it'll be good enough against Wozniacki, I'm not so sure. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. If you've been following me from day one, I predicted Wozniacki to actually be upset in the first round itself against Taylor Townsend. She came through that. She then beat Svetlana Kuznetsova, and very impressively, she beat Madison Keys in straight sets in the round of 16. That was a result I just didn't see coming. One of the key things I feel that's different in Wozniacki this year is her first serve. She's serving really, really well. And while she remains an excellent defender and her ability to run balls remains second to none, she's also not hesitated to move forward and take risks. And that has actually made her a player that I've enjoyed watching at this tournament. Despite her past success, I've always found it too defensive, but I think she's mixing it up better this year. Now, the question is, will that work? Will her technique work against Sevastova, where she's going to have to dominate a lot of the points because Sevastova is the underdog? So far, Wozniacki has been the underdog in all her matches. So I'm going to go with Caroline. I just think there's a maturity to her right now. I think Sevastova has been great. She's caused two upsets, but I think the quarterfinals are the limit of her talent at this year's US Open. And the final match of the night is Novak Djokovic versus Joe-Wilfried Tsonga. In past years, I would say that this is a mouth-watering clash. But you look at both these players and where they've come in their career, and frankly, I know Tsonga's a dangerous opponent. He's a big hitter, big first serve. There's just no department in which he is better than Djokovic. And I would even include serve. Maybe pace of serve, yes, but I'm talking about the overall effectiveness of the serve. And there's just nothing that Tsonga can bring to the game that would surprise Djokovic. So you're relying on Djokovic dropping a few levels. Now, I think that first week's break, many people had their questions, including myself, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. Obviously, the way Djokovic disposed Kyle Edmund in the round of 16, I think it is a good thing because that was his best performance for a while. And I think he's going to be super focused. I'm expecting, I'll be pleasantly surprised if I'm proven wrong. Of course, there will probably be one or two very tight sets, but I'm still expecting Djokovic to come through in straight sets. So that's your day 9 preview. The quarterfinals are upon us. I'll preview the remaining quarterfinals on day 10. Hope all of you get to watch some excellent tennis at the US Open on day 9.